This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Kodadami welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on this day and on this day, June the 21st, first day of summer, back in 1970, 51 years ago. Brazil won the World Cup. I may be thinking, why that? Well, Brazil in 1970, it was a magical time. Brazil had won a few championships back in 58 and 62. And in 66, they had a good chance in England to do well, but basically they did the hack a Pele trick, and basically Brazil fell out of contention. So this was the 9th FIFA World Cup and the 9th time Brazil participated. Brazil had some very strong players and all that. The squad was huge and all that. They had Jorginho, Pele, Gerson, Tostoro, and Rivellino, all number 10s, aka major strikers. That would help in all that. They also had some very key players like Felix, their goaltender, Carlos Alberto, the captain, good defenseman and all that. Jorginho, Gerson, Tostoro, Pele, and Rivellino. They had a guy named Everaldo and Paulo Cesar and Leo. So in Group 3 of the World Cup, Brazil was drawn with England, Romania, and Czechoslovakia. So Brazil was pretty much heavily favored, so was England. Well, remember, England's the defending champions for 1966. In the first game, well, they played all their games in Guadalajara. In the first game, Brazil took care of the Czechs 4-1. Thanks to 2 goals by Jorginho, a goal by Pele, and a goal by Rivellino. Brazil got a couple of yellow cards, Gerson and Tostoro. Gerson was replaced by Kaju. The Czechs replaced one brother with another, O'Neill Fesley for his brother Frederickson. Now, back in 1970, this was the first time the yellow and red cards were used in a World Cup, and this was the time that substitutions were allowed. You were only allowed 2 substitutions instead of the normal 3. Brazil would have to face England in their second game at the Estadio Jalisco in Guadalajara. Brazil basically had pressure with the defending champs. Carlos Alberto had a chance as he sent the low ball to Jorginho. Jorginho crossed the ball into the 6-yard box with Pele. Basically thought he had a header to send the ball low towards the goal. However, Gordon Banks knew that the only way he could get to the ball was not to catch it, but to parry it. And he bounced, and basically the ball bounced 2 yards in front of the goal line. And Banks basically decided to get his right hand. So he made contact and went over the crossbar. It was amazing. However, Brazil would score on England as Jorginho scored from a pass from Pele. England would be forced to make it massive substitutions. Francis Lee was booked for something, and so Jeff Astle had to come in. Brazil had to replace Tostoro with Roberto. Then Brazil took on Romania in their final game. Romania didn't quit. Despite going up 2-0 on goals by Pele and Jorginho, Romania came back with a goal by Dumitrash. Pele was scoring second in the match to make it 3-1. Romania pulled one back, but they couldn't do anything. They even had to replace their goalie, Agnemesh, with Radcunhu. Brazil made the 2 substitutions. They got rid of Everaldo and Claudaro for Marco Antonio and Edu. 2 yellow cards went to Romania. So Brazil would be put in the quarterfinal against Peru. Brazil and England particularly were in the quarterfinals. That's the top two teams in the group. So Brazil would take on Peru in Guadalajara and beat Peru 4-2. Thanks to a goal by Rivellino, then Tostado scoring his first of two, and Jarcinho again scoring. Peru had goals from Gallardo and Cubillas, and Peru basically gave Brazil a bit of a spook, but Brazil pulled the winning goal. Jarcinho surprisingly got substituted after the 80th minute for Caju, and Tostado was replaced by Roberto. Peru didn't really make that many changes. And then came the semifinals. Brazil-Uruguay in Guadalajara. So basically, Uruguay shocked Brazil by scoring first on a goal by Luis Cabila. Uruguay shocked Brazil 20 years prior in the championship. So basically, they were hoping to do the same thing. All that. But Claudaro equalized, getting a goal thanks to Pele. However, Pele would make one of his most famous plays that didn't result in a goal. Tostado gave Pele a through ball, and the Uruguayan goalkeeper saw it. The keeper ran off his line to get the ball before Pele, but Pele got him first and fooled the keeper by not touching the ball, making it roll to the keeper's left, and Pele went right. He took a shot, but he basically turned too much. Jarcinho again would score a goal. He scored in every game in the tournament. He made it 2-1, and then Rivellino iced it. Brazil made no changes. Carlos Alberto got yellow carded, but it didn't matter. So anyway, Brazil and Italy would meet in the final in Mexico City. The first game Brazil played outside of Guadalajara to determine the World Cup winner. Basically, it was the first time that two former champions met in a final. Italy won the cup in 34 and 38, Brazil in 58 and 62. But basically, someone's going to get the cup for the third time. Brazil will score first as Pele scored a goal from Rivellino, which was the 100th goal by Brazil in World Cup qualifying and World Cup competition. Italy would tie on a goal by Roberto Bonacina. Basically, Brazil's firepower was too much for an Italian side that clung to the defensive system that basically a lot of people like and hate at the same time. Garrison was the hero, scoring the second goal, and then Jarcinho scored again. Jarcinho scored in all three group games and all three knockout games, so 6 straight games with a goal. But let's not forget the Carlos Alberto goal, as 8 Brazilians passed the ball until Carlos Alberto hammered the ball into the corner of the Italian goal. It was a nice pass, all that. You got to watch the highlights on YouTube about the Carlos Alberto goal because it's one of the best team goals of all time, especially in a championship game. Brazil won 4-1. All that. Brazil scored 19 goals in their games scored by 7 players. Brazil only conceded, Brazil did well in qualifying and all that. Brazil became the first team to win 3 World Cups and actually got the Jules Rimet trophy because the trophy was made to the country who got to 3 titles first. So they got the small Jules Rimet trophy, but it was stolen in 1983 and never recovered. So basically, the World Cup that you see with, the people holding the globe and all of that, with which Badil and Skinner recreated by putting their arm custard and then holding an orange and all that. That was in the trophy in 1970. It was a smaller trophy. But anyway, Brazil beat Italy. So Brazil won the whole thing. However, as weird as it sounds, it would be the last time in 24 years that Brazil got the title. 74, they had a decent squad, but they lost the third place game to Poland. 78, they got bit by a bit of argy-bargy thanks to Peru. 82, they seemed to be good, but Italy beat them in a second group stage match. That was shocking. Brazil was taken out by, who took Brazil out in 86? I think it was France. But anyway, 1990, they were themselves, and Argentina easily beat them. But 94, they got the title. That's all that wanted. Italy would bounced back in 1982 to get the title. So, all's well that ends well. Anyway, it was a great World Cup had by all. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.